Up next on Inside ChampCar, VIR, Harris Hill, and more. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. He's Bill Strong. This week, a big show. We're going to recap VIR. We're going to preview next weekend's, or I guess this weekend's race now at Harris Hill. We'll have our tech tip. Also, our guest is Justin Andress, one of the drivers of the RVA Graphics and Wraps E30 BMW, car number 411. That won this past weekend's race at VIR. He's also a ChampCar board member. He'll be with us in our second segment. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Brian. How you doing this weekend?
Well, I'm good. You had a big weekend, and then another big weekend, and then another big weekend after that's coming. Now it's get busy for you, right?
Yeah. Now, so this past weekend we were at VIR for the 12 hours, the Oak Tree 12-hour. On South,
Right.
Really neat course. It uses the south part of the track. Patriot course is the middle part. And of course, you have the North course and full. So basically, you drive the S's that you would in the South course. You drive the S's, do Oak Tree, then go down the straightaway, and you make a right at the Patriot track, and then do the center S's and back. And it's a fun track. Flows really nice. It's got the speed and got the handling characteristics that you kind of want, for the handling cars. I know some guys just like to go real fast on the full course, but it's fun. And I did a stint and had a blast, drove the Bliss Camaro, and for about 45 minutes or so, we had some technical issues with the car that I helped sort out, and got out there and had some fun.
All
but
right.
yeah, it was a fun race. I spent a lot of time in the tower sleeping. No, I didn't. But this weekend was my focus on getting images. I do a lot of the advertising for ChampCar. I went this year to try and do our advertising. Realized I didn't take any pictures last year.
Yeah, I
like
to change that.
Our pictures, because then I don't have to do the licensing thing with other photographers. So
Sure.
Yeah, so I spent my time doing that, and that's a lot of freaking work, man.
Yeah.
I thought those photographers had it easy, and they just click, click, upload them, done, and easiest job in the world. No, that's a hard job. But got all my photos done for that race, and watched it every now and then. And there were some interesting things. We had some teams that didn't, that we expected to do well. They had some mechanical issues and some contact issues. What was that? NLS Racing had some mechanical issues on their backup car, on their second car, and their lead car was up front and had an issue with the Miata that I think that Miata wanted to be in the same spot as NLS was, and kind of dive bombed them and took them out of the race. Basically, they ended up getting the car back out throughout the day, but they just had overheating issues after that. But it was a good race, man. RVA Graphics and Wraps takes the checkered flag, and we'll talk about with Justin later today. But Justin was really excited when to get out of the car, because he doesn't usually get to be in the car when it's winning. Or takes the flag.
Take your swings now, because Justin got plenty of swings in on you during the segment.
Yeah. So they did really well. Bulldog Racing took second place in their BMW 325. Clapped Out Racing in their E36 took third. Full Send Motorsports in their BMW 330D it's either CI or CL. CI took fourth, and Atlanta Speedworks and their Porsche Boxer took fifth. That Porsche, man, he lit up those brakes at the end of turn one. Or down the front straightaway. I was down there taking photos, and the whole front brake system on that car was just lit up. The Hungry Geckos, who was that? Full Send Motorsports, their 330, as they were going down and braking, the back brakes were just lit, bright red. The front were red, but not as bright as the rear. So they had a lot of rear bias on that car, and I saw a picture of them later on. And they didn't have much pad left either.
Right.
So, they did well. Let's see, Bulldog. There was a team that actually, there was a Hyundai in it that actually was up on the podium as well in class. I think they took their B class. But yeah, not a big field this weekend, but it was a fun. Oh, wait a second. Those are class cards. I screwed up totally. I had the wrong screen. It's RVA Graphics and Wraps, Bulldog Racing, Wild Hair Racing in their Miata in third, Clapped Out Racing in fourth, Fuse 15 in fifth, Tag Racing in sixth, and Eurocar 7th, Full Send Motorsports in 8th. Freddie Mercury, your favorite name,
Yes.
in
Yes.
9th. They beat us in D class, and MDR Motorsports in 10th. And if you want to see the final results, go to Speed Hive at My Laps, and you can see the full ChampCar event results there, including classes, which I basically told you C class earlier.
So since I still haven't had a chance to really get to know all the teams yet, I still pick my favorites by the names.
Oh yeah,
Kind of like the person during the NCAA pool who chooses the winners by the color of their uniforms and all that kind of stuff. I found another one I like, Fat Dad's Racing. Don't ask me why I might like that name.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be one I'm going to keep an eye on, and they're in a Jetta, so that's got to be cool. And it's burgundy, which is very, very Fat Dad appropriate. Yeah. So I love that.
It was Pickle Boy Motorsports in their 2002 Hyundai Elantra.
Was that pickle green?
No, it was like a copper color.
Okay.
They took a B class win, and what was pretty awesome this weekend. Now, those that have followed ChampCar and Lemons for eons, there was a car called the USS Enterprise. It was a 72 Ford LTD. The thing is like a mile. It was so long that I had a hard time focusing on it. Whatever I focused on, the rest of the car was out of focus. But nice. It actually returned to racing. The owner had some issues over the years, and he kind of took a break from racing, and he was back this weekend with a vengeance. Took the win in EC class, and that car is always fun to try and get around, actually, because it's so big.
So when you take in the number of people who were conceived in the back of that LTD, do you get more points or less points for that?
I don't know, but I've heard some stories about that LTD. I won't say anything because some of them were pretty fun.
Oh, that's good stuff.
But yeah, that's a cool car.
We should also give
I've actually driven that car at Road Atlanta before.
Okay.
Fun. Yeah, it's fast. Oh my God, it's fast.
Definitely. Let's give a shout out to the Virginia Tech gang in their Ford Focus. They finished 22nd in the event, and of course
they had some issues, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, they brought the whole crew out, and actually we are going to go and visit them and kind of do a big interview for this show with them. And
nice.
Just got to get the schedule down, and they want to talk to us about some things that they prep the car really well, but there's just some preparation stuff that the young guys just need to do a little better. But a lot of it is they just don't know. And, so we're going to talk to them about that. But
they need a mentor, Bill.
Yeah. Well, it's this racing stuff's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not, it looks easy in the magazines, but in real life it's hard,
but it's fun. It is much fun.
Yeah.
So anything else fun come out of this race weekend? I mean, you guys had a lot of cars. The weather for Virginia for March was spectacular.
Yes. No rain. It was warm. It started out kind of cool in the morning.
Right.
Not freezing, but it was cold. I want to say down in Danville itself, my beeper on the dash went off when it was 39 degrees. So that kind of scared me a little bit. We got out to the track, though. It was nice and warm. A standout was we had no reports of passing under yellows.
Well, that was because Dana read him the right act after the last race, right?
Yeah.
How was the drivers meeting this week with that?
It was actually pretty good.
Okay.
There's a little better explanation of what his expectations were when we went back to racing under yellows and reds or whatever. We did have 2 red flags. We had 2 fires, and the fires were started on the grass. The first one was a Camaro. He had an issue with the left bank being too lean on that V8.
Yep.
And I have pictures on the web where he's glowing. The header and the pipe is glowing beet red. And as the sun went down, the driver miscalculated the braking point, locked him up, spun off into the grass, restarted it, and a bunch of fuel came out and kind of lit up the grass, but didn't start it on fire. Next, we talked about it on the radio with control. I had a radio while I was taking pictures, and we talked about how, when is that car going to start something on fire? And sure enough, about 4 laps later, he got way off and restarted the car, pulled away, and there was a nice fire there. So they red flagged the race right then to head out there and put that fire out. But it was starting to get windy, and the fear was that it would spread, and it did get a little, about the size of a car by the time they got down there. But they got it out pretty quick, and we were back to green flag racing very quickly. And I'll tell you what, the way the Flagtronics works, if we had to use we didn't have that, we'd have to get the pace car out. So they would have lost easily 2 or 3 laps while we got the field under control and all that taken care of. Whereas as soon as we got the field moving again, they were able to go from purple 35 to yellow to green flag racing all within maybe a quarter of a lap. It was really fast. A little later on towards the end, I would say about 20 minutes to go, we had the red flag again. A car got off track at turn 5, caught the grass on fire, and that actually caught the car on fire. They were able to get that out. I think they used 4 fire bottles in that one. You have to ask Dana because he'll get the bill for that. But they put it out fairly quickly. Driver got out safe, no issues. Again, the race got back with Flagtronics, was able to get back within a quarter of a lap. It was so fast. I mean, cool. It's just amazing. But what I think surprised us, you don't say it during the race ever.
Sure.
The cool part was there was no calls for passing under the yellow. Now, we'll probably get like 50 emails from, I saw a car such and such passing under yellow. But we had no reports of it by the flaggers, and that's the official part. So that was actually pretty awesome. So, and almost all the cars had Flagtronics.
So all the under the table payments to the flaggers from the drivers worked.
I guess so. but yeah.
Good stuff.
But yeah.
All right. So 459 laps over 12 hours. That's a good day's work at VIR.
And there wasn't that many full course yellows either. So that was a lot of green flag racing.
Cool. Anything else we need to know before we move on from VIR? Oh, how do I forget? We have a quick little interview here from Victory Lane. Of course, this is the audio quality on this is so good, Bill. I was so impressed.
My audio engineer is just kicking butt this year.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. This is the good folks from RVA Graphics in Victory Lane after the 12-hour race at VIR.
Hey, I'm down here with RVA Graphics. Today's winner of the VIR 12-hour. Who was driving the car?
That would be me. That'd be
Justin.
Yes, sir.
So usually I'm interviewing you after you arrive at the track, and you guys have won the race. But guess what? You win today, buddy.
Really? No, I feel like a winner. You know, it's a good day. All I had to do was not screw up, and that's usually in my wheelhouse. And that's what I did.
It's a beard.
You think so?
I think so.
Hey, I'll tell my wife I shouldn't say that. I kind of had that. I got lost in the woods for it.
Yeah, well, Richmond. Hey,
exactly.
So it got dark out there. A lot of teams were kind of missing that turn 1. How are you doing?
Fine. Turn 3 was a little sketchy from some guy in this car over here, but he already came to apologize. Yeah. I just got out there, was just trying to figure out what's going on. And he went somewhere that he didn't think I was going to go, but it was all good. Turns are fine, lights work great, car worked great. Like I said, I had an easy job, just not screwing up. It worked out well. It's good. We've been doing this so long, but that's the first time I ever did it. That was a lot of fun.
So who was driving with you?
I think pretty much everybody drove the orange car. Charles Reed, Baron Davis, Travis Lishford, and of course, PG is doing all the hard work.
So, where are you guys going to race at next?
That's a good question. North side of Daytona, there's some talks about a couple folks going out to the Corvette Museum. So we'll see.
Cool. All right, guys. Congratulations on first place.
All right, those were that was Justin Andress. You're going to hear from him a little later in the show with a full interview with a much better audio situation. So
we think so.
No, I'm
think
pretty
it'll
certain.
Be much better.
I'm pretty certain. So, Bill, you need to get with your audio engineer, and there's these really cool things. They're called headphones, and you can listen to what you're doing with that, and that might help.
Oh, it works great when you're listening. It was the hit the record button.
Now come on. You told me that you had issues with the recorder, which when you say issues, that makes me think that the recorder had a technical problem. So the issue really was with the operator of the recorder.
Maybe because I got the meter that showed the sound wave, but it didn't record the sound. So I don't know where it went.
So you have to hit the record button twice.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
We're gonna have to.
I haven't read the instructions yet, so maybe I'll
we're gonna dock you pay for that one. All right. So tech tip. You ready for a tech tip?
Maybe.
I got something really
Oh
cool.
my goodness.
Here, ready? Ready?
Yes.
How about that for tech tip music?
Hey, ChampCar Tech Tip. ChampCar Tech Tip.
This is where we tell our people who are listening, if you want to sponsor the tech tip, you could get your name right in after that third bump.
Can. Yes.
Yes.
Presented by
Yes.
Racing Strong Motorsports.
There you go.
And no, it's how do you say that? Sponsored by insert your name here.
Insert your name here.
Yes. Hey,
All right.
so a few things.
Okay.
NLS guys came up to me. We talked to them a couple weeks ago. They came up to me and let me know there was an update on their brake lights. Remember, we talked about brake lights, and they've actually figured out. And Ray Frank, I talked to Ray Frank about it, who's our head of tech, and on the board of directors. Ray said, he gave them the idea. I guess this is an old circle track thing. So when you need brake lights, they put two sending units for the brake lights that you press a brake, and they put two of them on there with a bar across it, and so that if one goes out, then they still have two brake lights. So they have four brake lights in the back, two are hooked up to each sensor, and they bent the bar enough to where one light comes on before the other, and when they release it, the other one releases. So it looks really cool. It goes do-do, do-do,
Nice.
one of those. And so yeah, that was a really cool idea. I never even thought about putting two sending units in there. That will keep you from getting black flagged at the end of the race when you're leading it, and help save you some time and keep you on the track. So the other thing we had a team. We had a spark plug issue in the Bliss Racing Camaro that I was driving this weekend.
Okay.
The Virginia Tech guys came up to me and asked me, "Hey, our car is making, we take it out on track and it just, just no power.
How's
don't
that?
know what the issue is, And so I walked over. Okay, let's take a look. They're getting air. They're getting fuel. Do they have spark? So, we started it up, and you gave it gas, and it just, it didn't zing. It didn't do that. It just, So that tells me, and then I asked him, so what had you guys done to this? And he said, well, we were when we got the engine, there was some oil in the spark plug valve. It's one of those 4 cylinders that, the Hemi head, spark plug goes right down the middle, camshafts on either side. And a lot of those, that if you wash them or get oil inside that area, it can get down in the spark plug
chamber
hole. Yeah,
right,
the chamber itself. And and they said they found oil down there. They wiped it all up, and they and that kind of stuff. So I'm like, well, did you put new plugs in? They said, yeah, before this race. I'm like, no, put new plugs in it now. And they did, and they went out and it fixed it. So that was my tech tip, is like, bring extra spark plugs with you, like a lot of them. You don't have to get the fancy, unobtainium spark plugs that are $12 a piece.
Right.
Just buy some basic copper plugs.
Right.
Cap them correctly for your engine and stick them in there and use those to race with, or at least have them as backups to your unobtainium plugs, because all it takes is a little water. Now, it probably doesn't do this on the, the traditional side plugs on V8s or some of the 6 cylinders and things like that. But it's on these 4 valve heads where the spark plug goes right down the middle. Anything can get down there. We could have a big rain race and water gets down there. And it kind of does something. It shorts out the plug or just causes enough resistance to where it just burns out the plug. Now, it may idle fine. It may accelerate up to a certain RPM fine. But when you really need it, it's just not there. So it's a real quick thing just to replace the plugs and do it. And plus, if you use those, I don't know how much plugs are. I haven't raced in a couple of years, but I don't know how plugs are. Are they still 59 cents each?
No,
probably not.
You're old.
Yeah, I know.
No, but they're not expensive. I mean, you can buy, if you're running a 4-banger, you're probably going to spend less than $20 for a set of plugs, to have them in there, unless you're getting those really high-end things that don't really typically make all that much more power.
No.
And
just have plugs, wires. Just buy some cheap wires at AutoZone. And a lot of times those, they'll last up until they don't. And then a lot of them have warranties. Take them back, swap them out. They'll give you a new set.
Here's the other tip: is when you take off the stock wires to put the fancy wires on, keep the stock wires, because unless they were bad and you were taking them off, that's always a great backup set of wires to have, and you knew they were working when they came off the car. Right. So that's always a good option. Is don't throw out those stock plug wires. Also, if you're running an older car, the coil wire always seems to go bad for some reason.
Always.
So, have a couple of coil wires. And my thought with endurance racing is always keep the stuff that you can swap out really fast, because in pit lane, because that's the stuff you can try to get yourself out there, and that might be your quick fix, and it's the easiest stuff to troubleshoot, because
when you do that, you may have the spark plugs there, but don't forget the spark plug wrench, socket, all that stuff. The other thing is that our Camaro that we were driving, every time I went on made a right hand or left hand turn, I would lose power.
Right.
A lot of power. I didn't realize that one spark plug wire coming loose on a Chevy V8, you just lost so much power.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was fuel. My mind told me it might have been, electric related, but to me, it just felt like it was just leaning out or just there was no fuel, but it ended up being on that, I don't know what they call the Chevy distributors with, it has that little coil in the middle of it.
Right.
HEI or
the
whatever.
rotor.
But the plugs go all around it. One of those plugs came loose and it was just sitting on top. It looked like it was tight, but it wasn't. So every time we took a turn, it would pull loose and just lift off the coil. Just enough to take the spark away. So once I got that fixed, it was much better. But spark plugs, have some spare ones, cheap ones, doesn't matter where they're from, just something you can get you back out on track. And then I would use the unobtainium ones from Nippon Denso, and there's tons of companies, Denso, and there's tons of companies out there doing Champion. But I would run basically those really expensive ones for, I think, 2 seasons. We check them after, each race, of course, but change them out because they were 100,000 mile plugs.
Right.
But in racing conditions, because we're wide open throttle, that gap went from whatever it was supposed to be, 36,000
right.
something like 100 or what, to like 4 inches.
Sure.
So it would they looked like RX-7 plugs when we were done with them after 4 years. So
a couple of other things. Gap your set of plugs before you need to put them in.
Yeah, even if they say they're gapped, they may have been dropped in their life. You don't know.
But and if they aren't, maybe you're running a little bit different gap because you found that works with your car. As soon as you buy brand new plugs and they're in, you gap them and then put them back in the box. Because then when you got to put them in fast, you don't have to worry about gapping them. The second thing is, and I learned this the hard way, my first endurance race as crew chief is, I needed to do a spark plug change on hot car in pit lane, and I pulled the wrong spark plug socket. And then I went back and grabbed the next one, and that was also the wrong spark plug socket. And then I finally got to the third spark plug socket, and it was the right one. So I immediately went out and purchased a small toolbox and started to put, before every race weekend, even if I was working on different cars, put the stuff in that box that wouldn't be for that particular car.
Yep.
I would take my full toolbox with me to the track with all the other stuff, but I would build a pit lane box for stuff that I knew would be the right sizes for that particular car, and it just saves time.
Yeah, and a super high cost to do that, make a dedicated toolbox forever, but there's not. You can go to the Snap-on guy and get it at lunchtime when he's sitting there in the parking lot and sign your name to it and pay it off for the next 12 years. Or you can just go to Harbor Freight on their tool sale weekend and just pick up bits and bobs, and always look in the returns, because it may be missing a couple of tools in it or whatever, but you can get a hell of a deal on it.
But I didn't even buy new tools. I just pulled the tools out of my big box that I knew. Over time, now I do have 2 sets of tools, one for a particular car.
Just 2?
Well, sometimes my wife listens, Bill. I can't let her know that there's so much out there. No, but I mean, now I have 2 dedicated box, the big box, and then the at the track box that I try to put together every weekend for the car I'm working on. So,
it's just good to have that all handy. And even one thing that we've done is on the hood, when you open the hood up, or somewhere where you can see it, is right in, like, we use the pink tape. Right on there, the size of those, 3/16 or whatever for spark plugs, what they're supposed to be gapped at, the firing order. That's a big one. Write the firing order somewhere on the car that you can see when you have the hood open, because you could be sitting in the car. You're the one that put the car together. You could be the one that knows exactly how this thing goes together. But John, that's sitting there trying to listen to you tell him how to fix it, if he has that firing order right there, you can take a marker and write it on the valve cover or something, to that effect. So
also, if you, and I'm using my visual aids, which doesn't work on a podcast, but if you lift the hood and you write the firing order in the order on the hood, 1, 4, 3, 2, or whatever the case may be,
and put front of engine, because a lot of guys don't realize where 1 is.
Right, exactly. And so there's lots of little tips and tricks that you can do that will help you when something goes wrong, because it will go wrong at some point in time.
Yeah, we even do that with wiring. We'll have it all written down on the hood. Yep. What I did is I took the decals you use, the stickers you use for shipping labels. I printed out everything on that, and just stuck it to the hood, and it just sits there. Now, if it ever caught on fire, that'd be the first thing to burn. But
sure, then you have other problems.
But yeah. That's always a good thing. Is spark plugs. Check for that, and then just have those little tips about the firing order, where the important wires are, your fuel. That was another thing too.
Right.
You label your fuel on the hood, make a wiring diagram of how your fuel lines go. Cause mine was pretty complicated because we had the returns and the surge tanks and all the cheaty stuff in there. And I'm sorry, we can edit this, right?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cause we're live, but if you just have all that in there, and just so that if you're not available, somebody else can fix it and put it together right.
Here's the other thing I did. Well, we're getting all of our tech tips out in one
that's
day
all right.
I'd paint the oil dipstick orange, the transmission dipstick yellow, and I would put I would paint the cap for the brake fluid one color and the cap for the clutch fluid another color, so I could just tell somebody, open the white cap, put in this stuff. Open the yellow cap, put in this stuff. Because I know the car, because I've built the thing, but you never know who's going to show up to help you on these race weekends. You know, and if you can really make it so simple that even a guy like me can do it, then anybody can figure it out.
Well, you say simple, like a guy like you, but I would say, 50 years ago, everybody knew how to work on cars. Right. Almost everybody knew how to work on a car. They knew how to tune a carburetor. Well, even longer than that. You had to know this stuff when you owned a car. Nowadays, you buy a car, you can't work on it. The dealerships won't let you. You have to have the special tools to do it. You got to take it to a dealership. So people just don't have that knowledge that they had 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 40, even 20 years ago.
Right.
So it goes back to that fact about people driving automatic transmissions and stick shifts. They're just not doing it enough anymore.
Yep.
So giving them those little hints and tricks on the car could help you get back out on the track. And that's always what we want you to do.
Last tip. Before the race, open up the hood, get everybody involved to stand around, and you point things out to them. There's your dipstick. There's your transmission. There's your brake fluid. Just a quick rundown, just like you would do as a new driver who's going to get in the car. Here's the on-off switch. Here's the blowers. Here's the windshield wipers. Do the exact same thing for the people who are working on the car, especially if you've got people who've never worked on that car before. So.
One of the things I did in the early days was I sat in the car, I took a wide angle picture of the dashboard, I took a picture of the engine, and basically did the same thing. Put the important stuff. And that actually gave the arrive and drive driver something to kind of look at and study, because they kind of want to do this. They want to be part of the team. And that's actually a good team building thing. It's just get them involved. If they can't be there, send them pictures, send them video.
Yeah.
And
cool.
And point this stuff out to them.
All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I think that's it, because now we'll go talk to Justin, and I'm probably going to get yelled at a lot.
Well, since we've already recorded it, I can confirm that there's going to be some fun and frivolity coming up here after the break. After the break, we're going to talk with Justin Andress. He is the driver who was in the seat when the checkered flag flew this past weekend at VIR. He was the driver of the RVA Graphics and Wraps E330 BMW number 411. They won at VIR. He's also a ChampCar board member, so we talked to him a little bit about that. All of that is coming up when we come back on Inside ChampCar.
Every race weekend, you don't know what's going to happen. But with ChampCar.live, all the action comes right into your living room. The ChampCar Endurance Series is North America's home to real competitive endurance road racing. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car, trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car and trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. Check out ChampCar.live on the web, subscribe, and ring the bell so as not to miss a single minute of the action. It's fun, free, informative, and it's just a click away. ChampCar.live. Come check us out. We bring you a front row seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Welcome back to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. He's
Bill Strong.
He remembered his name this time. That's pretty good. Yep. We're back here on Inside ChampCar talking about the VIR race. Our guest right now is the one of the drivers of the RVA Graphics and Wraps E30 BMW number 411 that won this weekend's race last weekend's race at VIR, Justin Andress. Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
We're really good. We're out here in warm California. You're in Virginia,
which is 81 degrees today.
Wow, you're going to be warmer today than we are. I don't think we're going to get above
42 tomorrow, so you're good.
I hear you.
So it's a snow tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the way it is out here.
There you go. Congratulations on your big win at VIR over the weekend. I understand it was a great race weekend out there. Good weather, I hear.
It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Compared to what it's been in some other years at VIR?
Yeah, we didn't have to deal with the freezing rain. Remember that one, Bill?
Yep, no. That was fun.
that was one of the more eventful ones. But no, great weekend had by all.
So tell us about your run. How did it go when the race started? Did you guys have a good start?
You had two cars in the race: the 111, which was a national championship car a few years ago, and the 411. 2 years ago. Yep.
No.
Twice. Oh, twice. It was national championship. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
No, I mean, you don't get to brag that much anymore at this age, so let's do it while we can.
And how many national titles do you have, Bill?
At what?
At anything.
Titles. We all got lots of titles for him. You want to? Yeah. But no, we actually started the 111 car we've run for years, as well as the 411 car, which is our newest build. We had some a little bit of contact, unfortunately, in the 411 at the beginning of the race, so we had to come in and address a couple things. So we lost a lap or two there, and the 111 was running really strong, but then we got a radio call and it started running hot. Brought it in, and of all the spares, all the stuff that you should bring to the track, maybe the $4.75 belt that goes from the alternator to the water pump would have been a good thing to have an extra. So we lost hours. We ended up finding some, just went out and ran it a couple other times to make sure it was okay. But that took that one out of the race. And the 411 just kept making laps.
Yeah.
And we had some good fortune at the expense of some of our competitors, because there were some other folks out there that had some laps on us, but it fell our way.
I mean, NLS was doing pretty well up until, I guess, the start. They had some issues and some overheating stuff,
but they seem to be running well. And I think someone hit him, because I heard him say that from across the paddock.
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't happy. I remember that arms went up in the air, and yeah.
No, it after that ran flawlessly, had a great race.
So what was the big issue, or what was the big strategy for your team going into this? Is this something you guys kind of handle the same way every race, or did you have anything specific for VIR this weekend?
It's funny with VIR that we finally, we broke the curse at VIR South, because we're in Richmond. VIR is our local track. We've been out there a lot, but I don't think we've ever finished better than fourth at VIR South. We've been leading in the wire for the fuel pump comes off. We've been leading and have throttle hung. Just a lot of different things. We've also gone to VIR South and started two cars, and in 45 minutes we're going home, because one of them was an Audi, and I don't have to say anything else because they're Audi. The other one, one of our teammates learned what lift oversteer is.
Yeah.
And that one took the E36 out. So, but no, our strategy was all right, let's see if we can actually finish one of these one time. And lo and behold, we did.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds
we
good.
do some of our best passes are just being out there, not being in the pits, not being in the garage. We're not usually the fastest people out there. Just got to keep plugging.
Now you've been part of this team for a long time. This was the first race that you actually were there to get one of the trophies, right?
No. I've been there for both the national championships, Bill. I mean
at VIR. Sorry, at VIR.
Yes, yeah. Remember our first win ever. We won on a Saturday. I was in school. I drove down right at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Sunday, everybody the trophy. Home, and they left me to sit around and get the trophy, even though I wasn't racing that day. But
yeah, you were our poster.
But we've been doing this. We started back in Lemons. I want to say in 07, 08. This is the first time that I've been able to take the checkered flag in the car that's in first place. I've taken the checkered flag before, but that was pretty cool. That was special. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. You had a big smile on your face. You didn't want to hit me. You know, that was a good thing.
I said something to tell the first radio when I said, tell Bill something. And we will repeat that right now. Is that not what I said? It really was.
Yeah, Jack came up and told me.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have to know what you told Bill to tell Bill.
To go do something.
Oh,
it's something like you would say in the Ukraine right now to a Russian.
Oh, well, very nasty, Bill. I'm proud of you. That was good.
I watched the news.
Way to sneak that in without sneaking that in, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So how many guys do you have on the team? How many gals driving the cars over the years? What's the setup of how you guys put things out there?
See, we're I think we're kind of interesting because we have 9 of us, and we all work for the same company and have for years.
Oh, that's cool.
And so
or maybe it's not. I said it's cool, but then maybe it's not. I mean, I don't know that I'd want to spend all my weekends with a lot of my coworkers. Nothing against my coworkers, if any of them are listening.
We've had a lot of therapy sessions to get to where we are right now.
Very nice.
A lot of good work's been done. But no, so we started. We'll just say racing back when someone had the idea of let's go do these 24-hour go-kart races in Florida.
Sure, I remember those.
And we did that twice. And the first year, I'm proud to say we won the big boy class. The problem
big boy doesn't mean adult, right? It means the bigger
big
boy class.
Big boy means over 190 pounds, which I think was either 4th or 5th grade for me. And I was a kid that when I played Little League football, I had to have the stripe this way. So if I touched the ball, the play ended. But it was funny. It was funny because we have a variety of size teammates here, and everyone had to be 190 or over. So several of us had seat inserts, like HO over here, had to have a seat insert. And every time you get out, you had to walk over and weigh yourself.
Oh, wow.
And I get out and I walked over to the lady and just went, all right, here we go. Yep. Just over 190. So we did that twice. I did have a lot of fun the year it rained in South Florida because I got to pass everybody because instead of being fast, traction was your friend.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But then after that, I saw this article about this lemon series and said, hey, why don't we go try this? And we started that. What did we start?
2009, because you guys were there. That we all started the same race.
Yeah. So it was, we had an Audi 100.
Okay.
And a Porsche 944. Yeah, an Audi 100. You don't see a lot of those ever again, and there's a good reason for that. But no, that got us hooked. And
they had the unintended acceleration issues, which you guys did not have.
No. We were trying to tell it to go, and it was a good car. I think that might be the first one we got rid of that still worked. But so we did a couple years with Lemons, won a couple. I think I beat you in Lemons too, didn't I, Bill?
Yeah, we don't want to go into that right now because that's in the past. We're just looking towards the future.
Exactly. So we actually had the good fortune of winning a couple times in the giant Mercedes car. That's when we were Schultz and Company back then.
Okay. I've seen a picture of you in that era, let's just say.
Hopefully it wasn't a picture in downtown Camden, and we'll leave that story for later.
It was you had the baby face going on. You looked like 20.
Yeah, I still do now if I shave. That's
you do. Yes, you do, Justin.
In dog years. But no, so we first race with ChampCar was actually the 24-hour VIR.
Yep. We were there too. That was 2010. It was on the South course.
It was on the Grand course. Then a thunderstorm knocked us out for like an hour and a half.
You didn't do the South course one because that was the one in 2010. So that would have been 2011. You did that one.
Yeah, the first one we didn't do because I think it was on Easter, and most of us still had small children and wanted to remain their living-home parents. So we didn't make it that time.
You have to take those moments into consideration and whether or not the one race is enough to take care of a lifetime's worth of fun with
and it's a lesson of even if you're allowed to do something doesn't necessarily mean you should. So
exactly. You're already smarter than Bill. You figured that part out. So, but that's a low bar. So
I'm gonna say, I'll leave that one. Taking a high road.
Bill's like, why am I even here? This is too much fun. This is way too much fun.
I'm just gonna spend the whole thing sighing.
He's the ChampCar punchline, I think is what he is.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
Great guy.
So who was with you in the car this weekend? Who'd you have who had great stints? And if they didn't have great stints, we'll just pretend they had great stints.
I'm looking for him. Driving, I think everyone but Charles, you didn't get to drive the orange car this time. You drove the 111 car, went back out. But myself, Farron Davis, Travis Litchford, Jack Woodfin, and Austin Dodge, who isn't here. He's actually somewhere doing what he should do, and he's working right now.
Nice.
Of course, Donnie Gerard's there all the time, telling us things that we need to do or tell other people.
So your drivers all range from like 4 foot nothing to 6 foot forever.
Yeah, we have 6'4", 6'3", some 6 foot, and then I don't know. They are big enough to ride. We have a line, we run the gamut of. That's when Bill sent the pictures. Like, who's in the car? Well, can you see the whole helmet? Well, then that's if you can only see this much, then that's awesome.
Now, for those of us who are vertically challenged, see, I'm vertically and directionally challenged because I'm the guy who you might not be able to see the helmet, but I'm also the guy who needs the triple wide seat to get in the car. So how do you guys work that out when you have wildly different sized people?
We have a sliding seat.
Okay.
And we have the seat that I fit in. Wouldn't want to stay in, but for so long, but I fit in. And then, unfortunately, different cushions. We tried inserts, but poor Austin, I think, gets more tired than any of us because he spends half the time trying to hold himself in place. Because if he's trying to keep it, there's a lot of gap between him and the side of the seat for me to fit in there.
Got it.
Same thing because it's funny because you could be the same height, but where your torso and your legs start is completely different things. So you could have somebody that's, one of us is taller in the legs, if you will, and you got to adjust for that as well. But we have that's why I don't particularly like to drive the green car because that one doesn't adjust. The cage doesn't go far enough back. And I can do it, but usually by the second stint, about an hour in there, right thigh cramps, left hamstring cramps, and you just can't straighten your legs. So you just, you're in for a fun couple of days after you get out of the car.
Now, Justin, you're an ex-football player. You played for the University of Richmond Spiders. What'd you play in football?
I was an offensive guard, offensive line.
Okay, so that's on the bench somewhere?
No, they're the big guys that push other people out of the way, push the other big guys out of the way.
Oh, okay, all right. I don't do football. I do the soccer thing, so
that's not.
Are you on one of these shows for that too?
Yeah.
Because you don't race either, but you're doing.
I don't race either. Yeah. You know what? I was out there. with you guys.
And your minivan in the paddock. I saw you. You had your race on.
We had an issue. I went out. They couldn't figure out what the noise was. Went out and I found out it was a drive shaft hitting something. Brought it in. They fixed it. They tightened up the suspension that came loose. That was a little scary. And went back out, did 45 minutes in the car, and it was absolutely brilliant, fun. I had a stumble. Turned out to be a loose spark plug wire. And that if that had been on there, that was a good 2 seconds a lap, maybe a bit more. I'm going to say that because,
the butts for candies and nuts, Bill, every day be Christmas.
And then, Jack, that's what was slowing me up in front of Jack. But we did have a good race out there. It was fun, actually, when those guys caught up to me. I let them catch up, by the way.
So. But Bill,
3 times in one stint.
There's There's an entry in the global endurance racing rule book that says that every race has to have a moving chicane in it, and there wasn't one at VIR, and I heard them say, "Where's Bill?" So that's why they got you in the car.
Yeah, the fun part was a couple of years ago we had the Opal there. Remember that one?
Here we go. Have y'all heard Bill talk about an Opal before? Pay attention. Go ahead.
If Bill doesn't get if Bill doesn't get an Opal mention in the show, I am not allowed to put it on the thing. So sorry.
Keep going then. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying that the rolling chicane, but we really didn't have that many real slow cars. The Hyundai guys out there were a little slower, but they actually were really good.
I mean, they were in impound, and I think the last race they did was the first race they entered and finished.
Yep.
And then they made it to impound their second race. So hats off to anybody can do that with. I mean, we've raced challenging cars with Audis, and you don't see a lot of Hyundais out there. So hats off to them.
Yep, that was really good.
I will say this: the diesel Rabbit or Golf that has raced over the years, that in the past has been a little bit more towards the rolling chicane. They figured something out. I mean, they're much faster. You don't want to be behind them for a long period of time because you can't breathe. But they've really picked up their pace.
Yeah, you could see that black smoke cloud come out whenever they shifted. So that was kind of funny. Now most, the rumor out there in race car land is that if you want the easy way, you buy a Miata. But I'll tell you what, the E30s, I want to say they're the standard right now when it comes to winning races. With ChampCar. I mean, they're usually at the top.
Yeah, I mean, that's we love it because we after playing around with Audis forever, I had bought an E30 back in the day to make a track car and said, hey, instead of a track car, let's make it a race car. And we've been racing them ever since, even after we tried the big Audi for years and years and years and years and never finished. But a solid car. The only problem is now is just parts availability, donor car availability. There's several of them that we had bought for $400, $500, and now you try it on Bring a Trailer to try to buy a cheap one. It's just they're fewer and far between now. Like E36s and E46s are dirt cheap, but the E30s are getting hard to find. So if you find a shell, you pick it up.
Are you able to pick parts off of other models and model years to help you out through that, or are they pretty much just the E30 is the E30?
Yeah, E30 is E30. But I mean, I don't think we have real replacement parts, more chassis, and I don't know, we're for some reason need to find a fender after VIR, and they're a little bit harder to come by than when we first started doing this.
Right.
You used to go on Rock Auto and order a couple of them for $50 each, but now you got to try to find them. Yeah, I actually sent Huggins a message asking if he knows where to get them. And I told him, no, when you hit me, it wasn't that you hit. It was, that was the bumper.
So you're on the board of directors now. This is your first year. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What's that like?
It's honestly, it's a lot more activity than maybe I thought it was. I've served on a couple boards but this is a very active group who does a lot constantly throughout the week, talking back and forth to address concerns or work on things. We actually have a meeting tomorrow night. They didn't tell me they were night board meetings. I'm an old guy. I go to sleep. But Ray makes it, so I figured if Ray can make it, I can make it.
Yeah.
No, it's I've enjoyed it so far. Getting to see, just try to, like I said, just try to help people out or help the organization out, make sure that we can still do this thing that we love. I mean, we're all in, so I just wanted to do my part to help.
That's pretty cool. I always tell people, I don't feel it's my place to complain if I'm not willing to jump in and do the work. And I love to complain. So, it's part of...
Are you on the forum?
What's that? No. Well, I haven't had the opportunity, the good fortune yet to race with you folks. So I'm sure I'll have that opportunity one of these days, and I'll have something to complain about because, that's why we do podcasts, right?
Exactly.
So what is, what is your kind of outlook? What is your goal? Was there something you got on the board that you wanted to accomplish, or was it just to be another voice that's active and being able to try to help and get stuff done?
Yeah, definitely the latter. There, I didn't have a running campaign or a slogan. Just kind of do my part because we've been involved as racers for over a decade. We've been involved as a sponsor for several years. So I think that kind of provided a unique, perspective maybe, and that I thought would be helpful just to help address things that are either outstanding now or as they come up, because there's the world of racing, things are always changing. So that wasn't to to right a wrong by any stretch of imagination.
Sure. So what's on tap next for the team? Where are you headed to next? What's the plan?
Yeah, we're actually here on our Monday race meeting determining what car, and if some folks are going to go out to the Corvette Museum.
Okay.
And then other than that, I know we're entered for Daytona.
Nice.
And these guys are moving, and I'm trying to figure out where they're going. What about after that? Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot the National Championship. We have 2 cars in that for the Ozarks. So looking forward to that.
Talking about the National Championship, brand new track for the series and all of that. There's got to be some excitement around that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know it was. I didn't know they were building one until I started seeing the things on social media here with ChampCar. So, see, Bill, that was an attaboy.
Yes.
It was in between the open roasts. No. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to go out there, and I'm really glad that they're going to have a practice day, because nothing more. The first time I drove it at NCM was I went out not on the first stint, but live under fire, and never been on the track before. And that's always exciting / terrifying to have your.
Well, that's kind of how we used to start racing in ChampCar, and even Lemons. None of us got practice. You just went out there and raced, and it sucked for the guy going out at night, because it's like you get him out there in the morning, the sun's already come. I was like, holy crap. I drove all night long and I had no clue where I was going. And this was totally different during the day. But, so that was one of the things that Dana and Chelsea and I talked about when we went to visit the track, was these guys need to really do some practice here, because if they don't, it's just going to turn 1's just going to be turn 1 will be okay. I think it's turn 3 to whatever the 17 or whatever it is just be the big one.
That 3 to 17 part, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, we're looking forward to it. I mean, we had to Google where the heck it was, but we're
make sure you do it. Yeah, you do Ozarks International Raceway.
Okay.
Not Ozarks International or Ozarks International Speedway, because there's a drag strip on the other side of the state. Ask me how I know this.
Oh, yeah, because he set up the Opal to go racing apparently at a drag strip, not realizing there's a different racetrack.
No, Dana entered he picked the wrong one on Google when we picked the hotels and drove out there and stuff. And I'm not blaming Dana, because
And how
you did.
I just believe that Bill rolled the boss under the bus on a almost live.
No,
podcast.
I was in the back seat, and Chelsea kept looking at me like going, this ain't right. And, I'm like, you say something. I'm not going to say it.
Somebody did that one time when they flew. They might have flown to the wrong place.
You guys did?
One of us did. I've gone on the wrong day, but never the wrong place. Well,
I've done the wrong day, the wrong weekend.
Got to be careful in Daytona, because there's that Orlando Daytona thing. And
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's always been my fear, is showing up at the wrong track on the wrong weekend. That Michael Waltrip commercial thing. Yeah,
too funny. Anybody you want to thank before we get out of here, Justin? Is there a whole group of sponsors, wives, significant others, people the wives shouldn't know about?
Counting 5 on that one.
Sorry.
No. Just our organization. We all work for Woodfin Heating Inc. And Jack Woodfin is the owner of the company. He races with us, and just want to thank him. He's not here right now. He's actually out today, so just want to thank him for supporting us and allowing us to do what we do. Because, like I said, we all work together, and we've all worked together for years. And to be able to do this is pretty special. And we appreciate it, and we appreciate ChampCar giving the RVA Graphics and Wraps the opportunity to participate that we've enjoyed for the last several years, and want to keep doing that.
Very cool. Anything else you want to get in here before we try to redeem yourself, Bill, before we get out of here?
No, thanks, Justin. And it's been nice knowing you, and it's been fun.
All right.
Fun.
Before we head to break here, I just want to make sure everyone who's out there listening, go to your podcast platform and hit the review button and give us a good review, please, and say nice things. And all, if it's 5 stars, give us 6 stars. Reviews are how we get more people to listen, so go out there and review. When we come back, we're going to talk about this upcoming weekend at Harris Hill, everything you need to know there, and a whole lot more. That's next on Inside ChampCar on the Racing Wire Podcast Network.
Inside ChampCar is a podcast that takes a deep dive into all things going on with the ChampCar Endurance Series. Hosted by veteran journalist, radio host, and racer Brian Bielanski and ChampCar's very own Bill Strong, we talk to drivers, team bosses, tech gurus, and series supporters. Episodes air every week in time for you to listen on your way to the track. Inside ChampCar is on the Racing Wire Podcast Network, found on Apple, Spotify, Google, and most popular podcasting apps.
All right, we're back on the Inside ChampCar podcast. I'm Brian Bielanski. He's Bill Strong. Bill, gosh, that Justin guy, he is a ball of fun.
Yeah, I can talk about him now. He's not standing in front of me.
He wasn't standing in front of you then either. There was 60 miles between you and him, and he still had you quaking in your boots.
There's that intimidation factor. You know, you got to play tough in front of him, but then you got to know when to stand down. Usually it's when he's pushing me over out of the way. Justin's a good guy. We've raced with him. Bear. Yeah, we've raced with him for a long time. Like I was telling you earlier on our prep, was first time I met him, he intimidated the heck out of me, and he climbed out of that Mercedes and just kept climbing. I was just like, holy crap!
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Harris Hill this weekend.
Yep.
As we record this, you're still in Virginia, but you're going to make the big trek out to Texas.
Yep. Tomorrow I head to Richmond, Virginia, pick up our Flagtronics units, load them into the Kia minivan and the media van, and head out to Wednesday, bright and early morning. I'm going to head out. I should arrive in Harris Hill, San Marcos, Texas, just south of Austin, about midday. Sometime around midday on Thursday as staff arrive. Got to plug in all the units, radios, and all that stuff on Thursday, so they're nice and charged for us on Friday. But it's going to be an exciting race. Harris Hill's a great little track. I mean, I'm serious. If you've never raced Harris Hill, get there and race it. You should do it soon. They're starting to build around that track, and that's one of those tracks that, you know, as they start building houses, you know, you think tracks. You'd think that a track, if it's there first, it would have the priority in life, but you know, that's not the way life is. And as houses get built, tracks become bad things because people think they're too loud.
So how far out in the country is that? How far is it south of Austin, you said?
Yeah, it's south of Austin by about 20 minutes.
Okay.
I forget the name of the freeway. You just take that freeway down. It's right next to an airport. It's where the Confederate Air Force used to be, and I think they call it something different nowadays.
Okay.
But back when I was younger, the Confederate Air Force, second biggest air force in the world, they flew old airplane, you know, World War II planes and jets and all kinds of really cool stuff. And they're located at a air base right next to the track.
Got it.
Neat little country club track. It's not very big.
Right. Yeah, so it's just off of I-35. That's the interstate you were looking for. I just pulled it up on my...
San Marcos, Texas, neat little town, good restaurants, good. It's a school town, so, you know, college town. So lots of good stuff going on.
They promised to have some brisket for me?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And they were on live PD one time, that town.
Okay.
They chasing down some supercars that were going to the track that night. Those guys were racing up and down the highway.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was fun.
All right. So what do people need to know if they're going to Harris Hill for the first time?
Well, you got to go to the supplementals and download them and read them and follow the instructions. Nobody is allowed into the track until Friday. All the details are in the sup, so please read that carefully. Okay. It's not like it has been in the past. Basil Weenie is going to be there. They're one of our top teams at that track. They do pretty well. Bradley Fighting Vehicle as well with their Miata. I believe they've won that a few times.
Cool.
The CU Boulder team is going to be their school teams. They've got 2 Miatas that they're going to be bringing in. That's going to be kind of cool. That's nice. The lady. It's a 280Z. They will be there. They've got a ringer driver in that car. I forget the kid's name, but Danny Sophie. Danny Sophie. He's going to be driving that car. Danny was the kid that made me feel so inadequate at
Boy,
COTA.
That's a long list.
Oh, yeah, I know. At COTA a couple years ago, or bunch of years ago.
Right.
Let's look at this 911 Turbo. Beautiful car. driving down the pit lane, and there's a kid in it. Must have been 13 years old. And I just knew right then and there, I am doing so many things wrong in my life. So, yeah, he's a hell of a driver. He's a kid that his dad would take him out of school on rainy days and make him drive the Harris Hill track in the rain. And in the rain, the kid is absolutely amazing to watch drive.
The Rain Meister.
Yes, he's amazing at that track. Pull My Finger Racing there with their Mustang. They're always fun to watch. That's a 68 Ford Mustang. One day I'm going to drive that car. I've got to drive that car. It just looks so much fun. Winkler Motorsports and their Mazda Miata as well. Lots of Miata. This is a Miata track. Folks were commenting about that on the web the other day. But Harris Hill was kind of sponsored by Mazda at one point in their track life, and everybody has Miatas.
Nice.
So
nice. All right. Anything we need to know before we get out of here?
Well, NCM coming up in Daytona. Just if you want to go to Daytona, send your email to Dana. Right now, I believe it's closed, but we're just, as people drop out, we add them to it. So make sure you get your name on there. Road America, we need some more teams there. But Sonoma, unfortunately, we had to cancel, and more information will be released as this comes out. We'll probably have it already announced.
All right.
So
next week we're going to recap Harris Hill. And we'll do a preview on NCM. We'll do all of that when we do next week's episode. Should be tons of fun.
Woohoo!
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. It would also be great if you would share it on your social media channels. Leave a comment on the ChampCar Facebook page, especially if it's a good one. We'll have new episodes every week. For Bill Strong, I'm Brian Bielanski. You're listening to the Racing Wire Podcast Network.